The plan was simple: go to India, change your life. That's what the movies promised, right? Step off the plane and suddenly you're a new person, enlightened and transformed. At least that's what everyone said. Friends, travel blogs, even that one distant cousin who came back with a nose ring and a new philosophy. I wasn't looking for enlightenment. My life was fine. Sofa, telly, no dysentery. I like my routines, my takeout, my reliable plumbing. But the pressure was on. Eat, pray, love, they said. I hadn't read the book, but eating sounded like the only bit I'd manage. Praying and loving seemed a bit ambitious for a 2-week holiday. Still, I packed my throwaway trousers, hand sanitizer, and a book I'd never read. I even threw in a travel journal, just in case inspiration struck between meals. I had a list: Taj Mahal, Jaipur, Goa, the classics, the must-sees, the places everyone posts about on Instagram. I was ready for postcard India. The colors, the chaos, the curry. I wanted the highlights, the stories, the photos to prove I'd been there. I pictured myself cross-legged, serene. In reality, my foot would go numb in 2 minutes and I'd be thinking about snacks. Instead of a spiritual awakening, I got chaos. Less eat, pray, love, more sweat, worry. Where's the loo, the noise, the crowds, the smells? India is a full contact experience. How can a place change you? You're still you, just in a different postcode, still worrying about the hob back home. The scenery changes, but your anxieties pack themselves in your carry-on. But everyone comes back from India with a story about their inner self. I didn't even know what that was. Somewhere near the spleen? Maybe it's just what you find when you lose your luggage. I landed in Delhi, July heat, feeling like a baked potato. The air was thick, the noise relentless. My clothes stuck to me before I even left the airport. My package tour of inner peace, out the window. This was going to be chaos. The only thing I was finding was a new appreciation for air conditioning. For someone who likes things neat, chaos is not a good starting point for finding yourself. I was more likely to find a missing sock than enlightenment. It's a great way to lose your luggage, your wallet, and your mind, and maybe, if you're lucky, your sense of direction. This wasn't the India I signed up for, but it was the one I got. And maybe, just maybe, that's where the real story begins. My first detour, Spiti Valley. A place that feels like the edge of the world, tucked away in the far reaches of Himachal Pradesh. Someone once told me Spiti was like Tibet, but in India, mountains, monks, and a silence that settles deep in your bones. It's a place where the air feels ancient and every view looks like a painting. The bus ride was scenic, which in Himalayan terms means absolutely terrifying. 12 hours of sheer drops, hairpin bends, and white-knuckle terror. Every turn felt like a dare from the mountains themselves. Arriving felt like landing on another planet, brown, rocky, and a sky so blue it almost hurt your eyes. The landscape was stark, beautiful, and completely unforgiving. The air was so thin, every step felt like a marathon. Even the simplest walk left you breathless, reminding you how high up you really were. Villages appeared as clusters of white mud brick houses, huddled together for warmth, with yaks wandering everywhere. Yaks, big, hairy, and always in the way, blocking paths and staring at you like you owed them money. They're the true locals here. The silence was almost deafening after the chaos of the cities. Just the wind, the crunch of your boots, and your own thoughts echoing back at you. I stayed in a homestay. Tiny room, a window framing the Himalayas, a lovely family, and absolutely zero shared language. Smiles and gestures became our only conversation. They offered butter tea, yak butter, salt, and tea leaves churned together. It's the local specialty, and refusing isn't really an option. It tasted as bad as it sounds, salty, oily, and strange, but you drink it to be polite, and maybe to warm up a little. I visited Key Monastery, 1,000 years old, perched on a hill like a fortress. It's the heart of Spiti, watching over the valley for centuries. Inside, young monks chanted and banged drums, their voices echoing through ancient halls filled with incense and history. One kid was fascinated by my digital watch, poking at the buttons and giggling at the glowing numbers. For a moment, I considered trading it for enlightenment, but I needed to know the time, at least until I left Spiti. Spiti wasn't on any tourist map. It was raw, real, and not trying to impress anyone. It just existed, untouched and unapologetic. For the first time, I felt somewhere truly different. Not just a spicier version of home, but a place that changed the way I saw the world. No enlightenment, but a proper sense of being far, far away. And in that moment, that was more than enough. Next stop, Malana, a village with rules. No touching anyone or anything or you pay a fine. They claim to be descendants of Alexander the Great's army. Sounds like someone got lost and never left. The trek up was brutal. When I arrived, it felt like a living museum. Old wooden houses, people with lighter eyes, their own language. The rules were strict. Touch the temple, big fine. I kept my hands in my pockets. Buying water was a dance money on the counter, bottle left for me, no contact. The kids watched from a distance like I was a zoo animal. Here you weren't part of the scenery, you were actively excluded. They had their own parliament, laws, and didn't care about outsiders. It was humbling. You realize you're not the center of the universe. People live in their own bubbles everywhere. Milana's was just more obvious. No life-changing revelation, just confirmation. People are weird everywhere. I left feeling like a contaminant, but oddly impressed. Sometimes being an outsider is the whole point. After the Chile Mountains, I headed south to Varkala Kerala, a cliff beach which sounded dangerous but intriguing. The train ride was chaos. Families sharing food, students playing cards, a snoring man. No sleep, but strangely brilliant. Varkala was stunning. Beach below, red cliffs above, shops and cafes with sea views. It was touristy but relaxed. No big resorts, just guest houses and yoga retreats. I'm not a yoga person. Downward Dog looks like people searching for lost keys. But the vibe was calm. For once I could just sit and do nothing. Papanasam Beach, destroyer of sins. People performed rituals, released ashes while I worried about sunburn. It put things in perspective. Life, death, and spirituality all happening in the waves. I didn't risk a dip, didn't want to pollute the water with my sins. Days were spent walking the cliffs, eating seafood, watching fishermen. It wasn't wild adventure, but it was real, a place to breathe. I met a German bloke who'd stayed 6 months. I could see why. Varkala was easy to lose track of time and yourself in the best way. Before I even landed, everyone warned me, don't drink the water, don't eat the salad, only eat food that's boiling hot and freshly cooked. The stories of Delhi Belly were legendary, and I was determined not to become another cautionary tale. For an entire week, I survived on nothing but dry biscuits and bottled water, obsessively sanitizing my hands and wiping down every surface. I became a master at rationing snacks and eyeing every meal with suspicion. But let's be honest, you can't travel all the way to India and just live on biscuits. Eventually temptation won. I ventured out and tried street food, samosas fried in oil that looked questionable but smelled absolutely irresistible, drawing me in with every sizzle. The food was a revelation. Every region had its own specialties. Rich, spicy curries in the north, delicate dosas and coconut chutney in the south, and so many flavors I'd never even imagined. I ate things I couldn't pronounce, just pointed at random dishes and hoped for the best. Each meal was a new adventure, a surprise for my senses. My taste buds were on a wild, unforgettable ride, sometimes fiery, sometimes sweet, always exciting. Then disaster struck in Rajasthan. Something I ate decided to declare all-out war on my insides, and I was powerless to stop it. I spent 2 miserable days holed up in a cheap hotel, best friends with the bathroom. It was definitely not the spiritual enlightenment I'd been hoping for. The hotel owner, Mr. Puri, noticed I was unwell. He checked on me, bringing simple rice and curd, what he called a stomach cooler, and made sure I was okay. He didn't have to do any of that, but he did. That small act of kindness meant everything to me in that moment. Getting sick was awful, but it showed me a side of people I didn't expect. Genuine care and hospitality from complete strangers. Once I recovered, was I more careful? Honestly, not really. The food was just too good to resist, and the adventure was worth every risk. I just made sure to buy extra loo roll just in case. A little preparation goes a long way. Culinary adventure, 10 out of 10. Gastrointestinal adventure, never again if I can help it. But honestly, I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything. They're part of the story now. The Indian head wobble side to side, meaning yes, no, maybe, or I have no idea. I'd ask, is this the bus to Jaipur? Get a wobble, end up somewhere else. It took weeks to learn. Context is everything. Eyebrows, speed, vibe, it's a language. Then there's time. 2 p.m. could mean anything. Indian Standard Time is more of a suggestion. I learned to go with the flow. Getting angry just makes you sweat more. Personal space doesn't exist. Queues or huddles, trains or sardine cans. At first it's alarming, then you realize it's just efficient. Staring is another thing. In remote places you're a walking attraction. People stop and watch, not mean, just curious. At first I was self-conscious, then I just stared back. Sometimes it became a contest, I usually lost. It's a different way of looking at the world, not about my space, but our space. The mysteries never really made sense, but I learned to enjoy the confusion. India is a masterclass in letting go of control. You can't fight the chaos, you just join in. And sometimes that's the best part. In tourist cities, everyone's selling something. Rugs, taxis, tours. It gets old fast, but off the beaten path, people just wanted to know me, where I was from, if I was married. My camera died in a mountain village. The shopkeeper didn't have a charger, but took me to his house, let me use his. He wouldn't take money, just gave me chai and a smile. In Jodhpur, lost and phone dead, a teenager walked me to my guest house just to practice English. He refused money, just wanted to chat about America. These moments stuck with me more than any monument. It's the small acts of kindness that matter. The family sharing food, the man with the charger, the boy who guided me. Most people everywhere are decent. The touts are loud, but the quiet majority are just good people. It's a different kind of wealth. Generosity with what little they have. I learned more from these strangers than from any guidebook. The real India isn't in the scams, it's in the kindness, and that's what I'll remember. I arrived with a bucket list: Taj Mahal, camel ride, Varanasi. Travel was about ticking boxes, but India doesn't work like that. My itinerary fell apart on day 2. Delays, breakdowns, distractions. I saw the Taj Mahal, it was nice. But the real memory was a cricket lesson in a dusty cafe laughing with a stranger. The best moments weren't planned, they just happened. In Kerala, caught in monsoon rain, I huddled with locals under a shop awning. We laughed, shared chai, watched kids splash in puddles. That sense of community beat any monument. My bucket list was about seeing things. The real experience was about feeling things. The best stories came from things going wrong, getting lost, getting sick, getting soaked. Those moments forced me to rely on strangers, to connect. I left India with stories, not just ticks on a list. I never rode a camel, didn't matter. The unplanned moments were the real adventure. Travel isn't about conquering a place, it's about letting it change you, and sometimes that means ditching the list. Flying home, I wasn't enlightened, but something had shifted. The world felt bigger, my problems smaller. I'd spent months uncomfortable, confused, out of my depth, and survived, even enjoyed it. India didn't give me answers, but it taught me patience, openness, and how to laugh when things go wrong. I missed the chaos, the noise, even the head wobble. I went looking for postcard India, but found it in the messy, beautiful bits in between. My mate was right, the trip changed me. Not into a guru, but into someone with softer edges. I learned that my way isn't the only way. There's genius in just letting things happen, Jugaad they call it. You don't always need a plan, sometimes you just figure it out. Would I recommend it? Maybe. It's not relaxing, but it's unforgettable. Leave your expectations and your bucket list at home. Go to the weird places, talk to people, eat the street food. You might not find yourself, but you'll find a good story. I'm still an idiot, but now I'm an idiot who's seen a bit more of the world, and that's something.